Hey everyone, welcome to Handing the Shame Back, a YouTube channel dedicated to the adults in the world who have experienced some form of child sexual abuse. We are here standing beside you and have nothing but love and concern for all that you go through and have gone through. As with all shows, I start with a trigger warning simply because what you may hear today may trigger you. And if that's the case, please do stop watching, go to the show notes below, and you'll be directed to some help and resource. I've got a fabulous guest for you today. His name is Rehann Handford. He comes to us from Gisborne and in New Zealand, and he is a dad, he's a survivor, he's passionate about men's mental health and bringing awareness to him, and we've got him to talk to. So welcome to the show, Rehan.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Very welcome. So as you know, this is all things child sexual abuse. Wonderful survivors like you that we get on the show are there for us to help normalise these conversations so people feel less alone and less isolated out there. So, Rehan, you're down in Gisborne. You're a survivor of over 30 years now. You've held this knowledge. Are you able to share as much or as little as you're comfortable to about what you went through?
Yeah, yeah, I'm happy to share. So it's taken me 30 or plus years for me to bring um bring it out and actually be able to speak to it about it and to my own parents about what's happened to me as a child. So when I was roughly around seven to 12-ish, I think it was, maybe even a little bit younger. We had a family friend that used to take me into his bedroom and want to do things with me and want me to touch his private parts. Um, I thought, it was, as a child, you just do as your elders tell you. That's the way I've always been brought up. You listen to your elders, and your elders tell you, and you respect them. That's their thing, and you're told to, be quiet, don't talk about these sort of things. So I kind of thought, okay, well, that's how it goes back then, obviously, um, and just dealt with it. It's not until later on in life, so maybe in my teens, that I found, I've discovered that that is not normal, that is not supposed to happen. I ended up being drug and alcohol dependent at the age of 13. Um, so I've suffered with alcohol and drugs throughout my whole entire life. Um, Methamphetamine. I'm 14 years clean off methamphetamine. I don't drink, and I've been about 16, 17 weeks off smoking marijuana now just to get my head around everything that's going on. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And look, you know, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, isn't it, what you're talking about with that family friend, obviously friend of parents, um, he had, or she, he or she,
Hey, that was a he, yeah.
he had groomed them sufficiently that they accepted him in their home and you in a room alone with him.
Yeah, well, it happened in their family home, so
Okay.
never happened like in my own family home. I don't think my parents would allow that sort of thing to happen. We were always taught or told that we don't play inside. We always played outside.
So
And
how how did
if it was inside, it was in front of them. So yeah, it was at their house.
how did he isolate you from the parents, from other adults? Didn't other adults want to know what an adult was doing?
So he was slightly a little bit older than us. So I was 7, he would have been in his early teens, sort of thing. And it was just, oh, come play in the room, sort of, sort
Yeah,
of thing. Come and see my new toys, or
yeah,
come and see what I've got.
yeah.
And then yeah, you get dragged into the whole next level sort of stuff.
And of course, you keep the secret because that's what we do as children who are being
Yeah.
sexually abused. We don't speak of this because we know we can't. What was it like for you? I imagine the experience of having this happen to you and the feelings that emerged in you about having this happen. Can you recall how you were feeling at the time? Like,
Uh, I've
yeah,
kind of blocked most of that stuff out now. So yeah, and through alcohol and drugs, I've pretty much, yeah, it's no longer in my brain. I know it's happened, and yeah, I don't know how I felt. It was basically a game, or um, yeah, and you just don't speak about it because it's a game or whatever. And that's, yeah, it's sad to say.
yeah. But
Yeah.
that's how they get away with it, you see, because we can
Mm,
either be manipulated, bribed, or threatened. And
yeah.
these pedophiles and these abusers have a lot of ways actually of ensuring they get compliance. Um,
Mm.
so
So the person that had it did happen, that abused me, is no longer alive. So if I wanted to prosecute or anything like that, there's no possible chance of that happening.
yeah,
Um, in a way, I see it as, well, that's karma, and karma's finally caught up with him, and you know, he ended up with a brain tumor in his head, and yeah, died from it. So in a way, I find it as karma, and I don't know if he had it happen to him. I don't know if he did it to anyone else either. So it's a bit sad. I can't find that sort of thing out. Um,
well, that's okay because Rian,
mm,
it's not actually your job to do any of it. Your job is to get get yourself to a place where you feel healed enough and safe enough to live your life. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like you have. And yes, of course, there was drug and alcohol addiction because
mhm,
how else, for survivors everywhere, we have to find a way to process. And for some of us it's drugs. Some of us, it's alcohol. Some of us, it's smoking. Some of us,
mm,
it's food. Some of us, it's work. Some of
yeah,
us, there's so many addictions that are around, gambling, another one. So, I never think to actually judge anyone who's chosen to manage the trauma and the pain through
yeah.
rehab. So it got you.
My worst, my worst times were from my drug and alcohol abuse. I ended up getting sent to jail,
Yeah,
and when I got sent to jail, I'm then around pedophiles. So I struggled with being around them sort of people. I ended up in the kitchen in the jail and ended up stabbing one in the leg because he got in my face. Um, I was actually quite lucky that this the guards there did not press any charges and just let me go. I only had 2 weeks left of my sentence, and I was freaking out that I was going to end up with another 3 years on
yeah,
top.
yeah.
But they just let it go. And no, you're good, mate. Just not allowed it back in the kitchen. So I'm quite thankful for those guards for,
Well, there's some lovely
yeah.
karma. There's some karma for you, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
yeah, and Ryan, look, it sounds like that's a lot of years to have experienced all of that, and as you said earlier, you've now recently, perhaps in the last few years, been able to tell your mum and dad.
only this year.
only this year. And
Yeah, it started this year, so
what
yeah,
led
not
to
long ago at
you?
all.
Yeah,
Maybe
what led
6
to
months
that?
6 months ago.
Wow.
Mm.
What led to that? What led to you making that decision?
Because I've struggled with my mental health and my mental state throughout the years, and started counselling, and I go to this lady here. She's huge, um, and yeah, it came out when I was talking to her, and she said, "Have you let any of your family know?" And no, I hadn't. So kept on doing my counselling and kept on doing my meeting with Chrissy Mack. Um, and then yeah, mum was in town, so I told her it took her eight hours to get home from Gisborne. She lives in Tokoroa, so roughly about 3.5 hour, 4 hour drive. But it took her 8 hours to get home because of what I told her, and because my old man used to assault me as well when I was a young child. And so that all came out. Everything came out, and I told my mum. And it was about a couple of weeks later, I told Dad about the sexual abuse, and he's a bit of a weirdo, kind of like brushed it off, sort of thing. So he's a bit of a hard nut to crack when it comes to that sort of things. And yeah, so it was just through talking to my counsellor and talking through Chrissy Mack from Here For You that I thought that I needed to get it off my shoulders just so I could carry on and get my mental state and my mental well-being a lot better than what it should be.
Oh, well done. It takes huge courage. And if you're anything like some of us survivors and the beautiful ones watching, hello, wonderful ones, we almost feel like children again when we have to talk to our parents or parent
Mm,
about what actually did happen. Man, that's huge. Congratulations, Rehan. That's
yeah,
massive.
thank you.
Massive. Did you, so were you, I'm just wanting to check with you, a bit confused.
Mm.
Is your old man not your dad?
No, he's my dad. Yeah, he's my father. Yeah.
So he abused you as well sexually?
No, not sexually, just physically. So
Physically. Okay.
mentally and physically assaulted me. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then I guess and then you ended up with this person who decided to abuse you sexually. So you had
Yeah.
the whole triumvirate really, didn't you? You had the whole
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah. The whole shebang happened.
And what was the result? So he brushed it off. Um,
Yeah.
has he since come back to you or brought it up with you?
Uh, he's brought it back up, and he's thanked me for letting him know.
Wow.
Um, that's really about it. My mum's apologized. She thinks it's her fault. Well, it's no one's fault, you know.
Well, it's one person's fault, but he's dead.
Yeah, yeah. So, and that's what I keep saying to her. It's not your fault. You know, you guys weren't to know. Um, there's one person that was that was doing the wrong, and well, they're now dead. So that's that's karma biting them on the ass, and we just got to move on. You know, it's hard to move on when you're stuck in that place, and you've got to share it. You've got to tell people about it. Otherwise, you're going to end up being still stuck in that place, and you're not going to be able to move forward in life. I've now got children and the most awesomest partner, and I've suffered with all this shit for the last freaking 13 years we've been together. And now my relationship with my children and my partner can now move forward into a better, way better sort of life than it was beforehand when, I was smoking dope and drinking. Well, I haven't drunken properly in probably 5, 6 years, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um, before that, it was like every day, you
Yeah.
know.
Man, you've come a long way, and I'm so proud of you, Rian, because it's huge trying to overcome anything, let alone
mm.
methamphetamine, alcohol, marijuana, the drug scene. It's massive, and I bet you're seeing some wonderful um, experiences as a result with the family. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, heaps of good memories now instead of me
Mm.
being angry all the time.
Yeah, I understand. Take the win, my brother survivor. You deserve all that.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you, as we're talking and I'm thinking about mum apologizing, and our audience that watch this will also be thinking about a parent that may have apologized to them. You see, as a parent yourself now, of course, your heart is so full of love and protection for your children, especially as dad.
Mm,
That you can imagine if anything ever did happen, it would feel like it's partly your responsibility because you didn't
yeah,
protect. But we have to give beautiful mum the capacity to feel how she needs to, but equally recognize, hey, mum, I couldn't tell you. He was never going to tell you. And
yeah,
so it continued.
yeah.
Because I think there can be a lot of hurt for our safe parents, can't there? Our ones that never abused and just tried to love and protect.
Mm.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, my mum's, also apologized to me for not getting me away from my father, um, and his abuse and his alcohol addiction. And it's like, well, you were only doing the best for us, because I have a little sister and a little brother. Um, so she was only trying to do the best for us. She couldn't go out there on her own and look after all three of us. She had no income. It was basically dad ran the house sort of thing. So she was doing the best she could.
Yeah.
She ended up moving to Christchurch and taking my little brother with her. Um, I'd moved out of home by then. My
Yeah.
sister had moved out of home by then. So I thanked her for getting my brother out of the cycle that my dad had of abuse towards me, myself. Um, you know, who's to say that cycle could have then happened to my little brother? So I thank her for just, you know, you're good. You did good. You moved down south, and you've helped my little brother. My little brother's now a fully qualified plumber, and he owns his own business, and so big ups to her for that.
Yeah.
You know,
You're such Rian, I don't know if anyone's ever said this to you, but you've got such a beautiful heart. You're such a big-hearted person, eh?
I'm told that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful energy, and just thinking about, telling parents and talking to parents. Do you remember, or it may even be in your mind now, but can you remember why you perhaps didn't want to or weren't able to share that with your mum between the ages of 7 and 12? Was there something stopping you that you're aware of?
I think it was all my addiction. I was blocking it out. Didn't want to know about it. So yeah, I was always under the influence of some sort of drug
No, I mean as a child, while it
as
was
a child.
for those 5 years it went on, can you remember wanting your mum to maybe know but not quite knowing how to say it? Or
Um, I just think I don't know. It
okay,
was,
yeah.
yeah, just think it was, yeah. You're told not to tell. The person that's doing the offending tells you not to say anything, so
You just
you
don't.
just don't.
Yeah.
You know,
They're very clever at this, aren't they?
yeah, manipulative as fuck.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm,
100%. And so the cycle can continue, and you raised
Yeah.
another point without realizing it. You're doing great, by the way. Uh,
Yeah,
Believe it or not, Rehan, you're nailing it.
yeah,
And that is that, you know, for us as children experiencing all of that, because there was or didn't feel like we could share it, what we then had to do was internalize it. And
mm,
so in our behavior, even though we couldn't verbalize it, was either going to take us more to an acting out way of behaving or more of a withdrawn, isolating way of behaving.
yeah.
How was it for you? Which one were you
So I went into the drugs and misbehaved.
misbehaved?
Um, yeah.
Oh,
So I ended up as I said earlier, I ended up going to jail when I was young. I did corrective training when I was young. I basically went into a state of being intoxicated full time.
yeah.
It didn't matter what drug I was on, I was fully intoxicated. So then, yeah, I vanished. I actually vanished. My mum, my dad, no one knew where I fucking was. It's because I had got in trouble and went to court and everything for it and got sent to corrective training. So no one knew who the fuck I was. I did my corrective training, came out of corrective training and just went back into my same old. And then as soon as I freaking got to a certain age, um, and was still getting in trouble, the judge was going to send me back to corrective training, but turned around and said, "No, no, no, you're only like I was like 3 or 4 months off turning legal age of being able to be in prison." I basically just got in prison, and then from then on, I just kept getting in prison and prison and prison the whole entire time. And I'd get out, I'd get intoxicated. Within weeks, I was back in there, and it just became a cycle of me blocking everything out. And the only time I freaking did not block anything out was when I was locked up. And you can't do anything. You're locked up. You can't take drugs. Well, you can, but you're going to get in shit. So you just end up boiling it all up, and then when you get out, you're just fucking off the rails again.
So what would happen then inside? Were you, if you couldn't express it, if you weren't able to externalize it because you couldn't, unless, as you say, drugs were involved, what was happening in your mind? Were you just getting angrier and angrier, or were you just doing whatever you could not to think, or what was
I was
that?
doing everything possible that I could do, so I wasn't thinking about what the fuck had gone on.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I was in the gym pumping weights. So I was trying to find me a job or do something that just distracts me.
yeah.
Yeah, reading books. I don't read. You can ask my partner. I don't fucking read. I had a bookshelf that was covered in books. Just takes you're out of
Yeah,
takes you out of reality,
yeah.
and you've got nothing else to do. Like so, yeah, it was reading, drawing, gym, running around the yard constantly. Yeah,
So you would have been a well-informed, fit, muscly
yeah,
survivor who wasn't
yeah,
dealing with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But that is what we do, and our beautiful audience can relate. We do what we can to distract, to avoid, to minimize, to avoid, to keep at a long distance any pain associated with what we survived. And we do it, and it's normal and natural for us to do it. And then one day it has a little habit of starting to creep up, and we can't do it anymore.
yeah.
It's got to come out. So I guess I'm wondering for you, what was the tipping point for you? What point were you thinking, I've got to deal with this?
So my mental state got pretty shit. Me and my partner were constantly arguing, and left the house one night after having an argument and almost put my car into a tree and realized that I actually needed some help. So I went to Chrissy Mack, who is here for you here in Gisborne. Had a talk to her about things and about my mental state and um, about the sexual abuse that had happened as a child. And did she think that um, because of my mental state and because of the sexual abuse of back in the past and because of the physical abuse of back in the past of my old man and then um, my addictions, did she think that all of that being put into a ball basically um, trigger to and my ball basically exploded um, happened to why I wanted to feel like I just didn't want to be around anymore. And pretty much it all came down to all of those things contributing to me just not wanting to be around anymore. So yeah, I ended up just having to and deciding to let people know that you can't get yourself into a state. You got to fucking tell people. And but talking with Chrissy Mack, I talk with her on a almost a daily basis. Um, it's now I just want to bring more people aware that these things as a child that we've had happen to us as a child isn't helping our mental state and our physical state as we are as an adult now. So now I just talk about it and I tell people. So
Do you think partly it's the shame that keeps people quiet?
yeah, well,
Yeah,
it's not an easy thing to say. Oh fuck, I was played with
yeah.
when I was a child.
No, I was raped when I was a child.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
know?
Like saying that it's not
Yeah,
easy. And
no,
it is like us men, as us being men, we're always told that we gotta keep our shit together and just shut the fuck up. Or here, here's a pill. Fucking take
yeah,
that. That'll fucking sort you out. I'm not into pharmaceutical shit. As you can see, I'm into doTERRA, I'm into essential oils and anything natural that can help me, I'm into. But speaking, letting people know is the best thing
yeah.
to date.
Do you think that that kind of toxic male crap that you get fed, do you think that's changing? Do you think there's more permission now for men to be real and to be able
Yeah,
to say, "Look, me too," or "Hey, I'm really struggling," or, "This is happening to, up to 1 in 4 of us across New Zealand and the world, really. Sorry,
yeah.
world, but you're in there too." It's not.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, it is becoming more easy. Like now, people know. Like I have mates, brothers that have been through the same sort of situations that I've been
Yeah.
through my mental state. They now know that I'm out there. I'm speaking about it. Even my own son buzzed me out and was like, "Oh, I watched your podcast with Daniel. Holy shit, Dad! I have more respect for you now than I did. I haven't spoken to him. He's like 23. We haven't really spoken in 20 odd years. So me speaking out is letting people in my community know, and now they're coming to me and like, hey, bro, how do I fricking do this? Or I'm like, bro, I'm here. As my shirt says, I'm here for you. If you need to speak, just let me know. I'll fucking help you out. I'll put you in the right direction if you need to. If
Mm.
you need to go to a counselor, I'll sort out fucking finding you a counselor.
It's amazing, Rehan, and for those amazing males in New Zealand watching who perhaps haven't reached out as yet, Rehan's all his details will be in the show notes, so you'll be able to reach out to him, and we can see
Yeah.
he's genuine. Gotta love him, don't you? But yeah, it's huge. It's huge out there, and I'm just so grateful there's survivors like you around who can do this role modeling, if you like, because
Mm,
if people don't speak it out, it's like as children, if we couldn't speak it out, we took it in, and then what did we do with it? We either were a bit out of control like you or out of control like
yeah.
me in other ways. So, it will always show itself, and
Yeah,
we think we may have it covered, survivors watching, but no, we didn't and we don't. And we also, I think, I'd like to know what you think of this, Rian. I think we owe it to our younger selves, that beautiful child we were. I think we owe it to speak. We owe it to express because that trapped us, you know?
yeah, it sure did. Yeah,
Mm,
I think we do owe it to ourselves and our little people that we were. You
mm.
know, we do need to like speak out and yeah, let that little person back out again and start enjoying life. I love running around with my kids now and being an idiot. It's so much fun.
I can see you'd love being an idiot.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah, for sure.
that I got away with insulting you then, huh? No,
Nah, it's all
no,
good.
no, it's wonderful. I often say to my kids who are big adults now, "Hey, I'm more the child now than I ever was," 'cause,
Yeah, well, it's true,
yeah,
because you boil that childhood shit up. You just hold it in. You don't want to be a kid because someone's done something wrong to you. And
exactly.
now you're trying to let all that shit out. You're fucking back to being a kid, running around being idiots, jumping in puddles and
That's so
sitting in
cool.
big puddles. Me and my kids, there's a school here, and the grate it just doesn't take the water, so this car park just fills up with water. We go and sit in it. We go and splash in it. Do freaking water angels. It's
Oh,
it's all good.
that's
Got to
lovely.
be stupid sometimes.
Oh, we do. We gotta relax. We gotta laugh. We've gotta,
Yeah,
laughing is a great levelizer and stress
it's a
relief.
good medicine. It's a
Yeah,
good
it's good.
medicine. Laughter is an awesome medicine.
It is. So
Yeah.
can you tell us now what are you up to now? What sort of are you doing in your life post this recovery period you've had to go through?
So now I'm just all about my mental health and letting people know that it's not okay. It is okay to be not okay. Um, I'm all about breaking the stigma of men's mental health and, us men being told to just harden the fuck up. Um, it's now time for us to start talking. We need to talk about what's happened in our past to then let it all go and be a better person in life. I work every day as a floor sander. I've actually got the rest of the 2 weeks off though, so I'm thank fuck for that. Um, so yeah, and I'm just family man now, and yeah, enjoying life as a family man without all this shit and stress and bullshit that's happened in my past. And yeah, just letting people know, I'm always there for someone to have a yarn to, and if they need to get shit off their shoulders or if they need help with, finding someone to talk to or a counselor to talk to. And yeah, just breaking that fucking stigma of all this bullshit that we've had to deal with.
Well, you really are handing the shame back, and I applaud you because, as you and I were talking earlier, we just don't know who will see this, and
Mm,
it may just give someone the confidence to reach out to a trusted friend or write
yeah.
something down because there's so many ways we can express. I'm interested in this with you, and it struck me. You said it so beautifully that men are told to harden up.
Yep.
What in your mind would be a good catchphrase, Rian? If men are told to harden up and the exact opposite is true, what is that? Men should be,
More open,
yeah.
way more open. You got to talk.
We've got to give them some steps though, because not everyone,
Mm,
believe it or not, has your confidence or mine.
yeah, yes, that's true.
Do you know what I
Um,
mean? So how do we gently allow people who are living in fear or shame, how do we give them the opposite of men should harden up?
Well, it's okay to not be okay, you know? You
Yeah,
can cry. You
yeah,
can cry.
yeah, yeah. It's
And
just it's
you
just
don't need
emotion,
to
isn't it?
yeah, you don't need to hold it in. You
Yeah.
can cry. If you're not feeling okay, just let it out, cry, do whatever you have to do, man.
Mm.
Don't sit there being like trying to be the tough guy.
And I like that. I think that's quite powerful actually. You don't need to be the tough guy because actually it's not anything anyone really wants to aspire to. It's what for? What do you
Mm,
need to be tough for? Just be you, just be
yeah,
real.
that's
Um,
it.
yeah, hey, just be real. You
Yeah,
be Rehan, you be the best you can be. I'll be the best me I can
yeah.
be. It's not,
Be yourself.
yep, be you.
But you know, that's the thing, like in this generation or the generation I was brought up in, you get to be that tough guy,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know? Yeah, it's the harden to fuck up fucking
yeah,
situation.
yeah, which helps nobody
Nah.
and never
Well, look
did.
at me. Fuck, it's taken me over 40 years and I'm fucking
And look at you
yeah.
now. Look what you've managed to do.
Yeah.
You know, you've overcome and overcome and overcome. So congratulations to you. That I know that hasn't been easy.
No, definitely.
As there's no way that any of that was easy, and yet you've managed to do that. So congratulations and lots of heartfelt mahi and courage and respect to you. Your work is incredible.
Thank you.
Do you what advice would you give to survivors that maybe are struggling? Is there any advice apart from it's okay to not be okay? Is there any other advice you would give?
My my main thing is you got to talk. You need to talk, you know.
Yeah,
Even if it's not a counselor or um maybe it's one of your best friends or someone that you can trust, you know, just tell them that you're not okay. You know, if they ask why, and if you have the confidence in yourself to tell that person, that's the way to go. Is even if it doesn't matter who the fuck it is, but if you have the confidence in yourself to tell that person, it only has to be one person, you know, and it's going to help you.
can
It's
you
definitely going to
explain?
help you.
Yeah, 100%. Can you explain how that felt when you first released it? If
I like a fuck, it was unreal. Like
really,
yeah, I like, I was in tears. I've had a few tears run today as I'm
uh,
speaking,
I
but
can see.
I hide it very
I
well.
can see you.
um, but no, it was huge. Like, yeah, I had a massive breakdown pretty much and was in tears and hugs from Chrissy Mack and yeah, just walked out of the office just feeling light as like a feather sort of thing, The wind could almost pick me up and taken me
Wow.
away, I was just like feeling
Wow.
so good. And I came home and my partner was like, wow, you look different. And it's like, yeah, well, a whole weight's just been lifted off my shoulders.
Wow. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. I'm so proud of you. I'm so
But yeah,
happy
it
that
was
you've
awesome.
done
It
it.
was an awesome feeling.
That's amazing. Hey, and tears are good, so we don't hide them because it's just
Nah.
emotion and emotion needs a way out. That's all. That's all
Yeah.
that is. And just as we're finishing, Rian, I'm thinking about you've just done a couple of days or so with our mate Sam, the Road to Healing.
Yeah, 220 kilometers.
Wow, and how was that for you?
Yeah, pretty it was pretty good. Bit sore, but yeah, it was pretty good. I was initially going to be doing the whole 760 kilometers. I had a few things that triggered me while I was out there, so I pulled pin. I just did not want my own mental state to get further down than it already was slowly starting to.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I just decided that I was going to do what I did. And when I first initially said to Sam that I was going to come and walk with him, I was only going to walk State Highway 35, because State Highway 35 is basically my community, my my sort of area. So yeah, I walked from Mount Hakarangi to Aotearoa, which is 220 kilometers, and that's the State Highway 35. So I did my bit that I wanted to do. And then I had the triggers obviously a few days before that, and yeah, decided that I needed to come home and just slowly heal myself again. But a massive healing journey. Like, you're out there walking, Sam and that. I just let them walk ahead of me. I wanted to do my own thoughts and reflection and everything like that. So yeah, it's massive healing journey when you're by yourself and you're listening to your thoughts and reflecting on things, looking at the scenery. It was a buzz. It was a real good buzz.
Oh, well, and I think it's amazing, and help me out here in case I don't say it correctly, but beautiful audience all over the world. We're referring to one of our amazing survivors, Sam Troth, who's walking across New Zealand to raise awareness for male survivors in New Zealand. And Rehan walked with him. So very proud of these dudes, because it's not only a brave thing to do, but they were doing, some days were 50 kilometers.
Yeah, it was pretty grueling.
No, but hey, look, is there anything, just as we're coming into close, Rehan, that you would like to share that you haven't been able to yet?
I'm pretty good. I just want everyone to know, like, if you need someone to talk to, I'm always there for you. As my shirt says, here for you. If anyone needs someone to talk to or whatever, we just got to break this stigma as well.
Yeah,
We
that's
just got to let everyone know we're here.
yeah, yeah, 100%. And look, this is why handing the shame back exists, because it never belonged to us as children. How could a child be responsible for what an adult or an older person chooses to do? So that's why we're handing the shame back, and it's been a pleasure to have you here with us, Rehan. Can you please stay right there? Don't go
Yeah,
anywhere.
cool. Thank you.
So to fabulous ones watching, amazing the pathways we end up going down with these fantastic survivors, and so grateful to Rehan for his humility and his absolute transparency, and his tears, which he thought I didn't see, but it's my jam. I notice things. He talked about it's okay to not be okay, and I really like that, because I think sometimes survivors, we expect ourselves to always be on form and on point, and that ain't the truth. We're going to get triggered. We're going to feel low. We're going to feel like crap some days. So just love who you are. Treat yourself like your own best friend. The other thing he said that really stuck out was that when he finally shared this with someone, he walked out of the office feeling so light he almost felt like he was a feather, almost like a feather. So for you beautiful ones out there who are still struggling to find your voice, please know that is available to you. Imagine feeling as light as a feather. So as with all shows, I see you, I stand beside you, and I believe you.